There are two big moments, I think, where, I mean, again, putting aside the debates,
right.
You know, you talked a minute ago about when he was at his most vulnerable in that period in the fall of 2011 after
right.
the debt ceiling fight, when he's at his low ebb. You know, the president's going through this series of meetings with his senior advisors, and they really are kind of amazing. We detail them meeting by meeting,
right.
because they are in a lot of ways. One person who was in the meetings described them as like encounter group sessions, where the president is kind of not just like laying out strategy and tactics, but going through and kind of reviewing the last 3 years. He makes this long list of his regrets in office. You know, this is a guy who's searching, trying to figure out. He's never really suffered anything like the kind of setbacks he had in the midterms and then the debt ceiling thing. And he's really trying to figure out like what have I done? What have I gotten right? What have I gotten wrong? How do I go forward? Very uncertain of his footing at that point. And then the rest of the campaign in the summer, even when they're kind of annihilating Mitt Romney with negative ads, the president's not that happy with that on some level. He knows he has to do it, right? But it's so far away from 2008 when he was running on hope and also on really big policy plans. He didn't have either one of those things in this election.
But of course,
very frustrated with that.
The reality, John, is he has been a contradiction in a lot of ways. You know, he says, I want to run a positive campaign all about hope, but he ran the most negative ads in 2008, I guess it said, of any candidate ever. In 2012, they tried to take out, and I guess ultimately did take Mitt Romney out of the realm of plausibility for a lot of voters, you know, like he was a master of the negative campaign. So for all of his talk of not being comfortable with it, it was a very successful tactic.
But totally successful, and of course in 2008, you're right, he ran tons and tons of negative ads, but if you think about the ratio of, there was much more positive relative to the negative. As much negative as there was in 2008, there was also this whole positive aspirational side. This campaign, there was very little of anything but disqualifying Mitt Romney.
Tear down Mitt Romney. A measure, Mark, that you revealed in the book, in fact, when the book was first in people's hands, maybe a little bit earlier than you all intended for it to be. And there was news from the book. It was related to exactly what sort of a situation the Obama campaign thought they were in, that Bill Daley, then the chief of staff, and some of the Obama campaign staff apparently polled whether swapping out Joe Biden for Hillary Clinton as a running mate in 2012 might be a desirable idea, but really it might be a necessary thing to pull the president over the line. So uncertain were they about the outcome of this election.
In that period, the economy looked bad. The Republican nomination fight hadn't gone underway yet, and so they couldn't assume that it would lead to a weakened Republican nominee. And the president's aides felt obligated to look at everything. Bill Daley, who was then the chief of staff, has known Joe Biden for a couple decades. They're very close. It's testament to just how severe they thought the situation was that Bill Daley was the leader in saying, we owe it to the president to look at this and do some research and say, would this help us? They knew there'd be a downside. You replace a running mate in a situation like that, it's going to appear weak and maybe panicky. But they said, if Hillary Clinton will help boost us by some number of points in the polls, we got to look at it.
Find a way to do it.
We say in the book, you know, in this political team, it was better to be hard-headed than soft-hearted. And as much as they knew if it ever got out to Joe Biden, which it did when our book came out, that this had happened, that it would be bad and feelings might be hurt. But they had to look at it. Now, when they looked at it, they found that it didn't help very much. People don't vote for the bottom of the ticket, and whatever popularity Hillary Clinton had didn't really boost it that much. But just the fact
they were considered,
spent money on it, thought about it, shows you, A, how desperate they were, and B, again, how kind of cutthroat they are, how kind of ruthless they are, that they'd say they'd cut through, they would take to the president the notion, maybe we got to replace your friend Joe Biden, who you've basically already promised you're going to run with.